Aubrey. I'm still like getting used to this new microphone in my face. It's very fun.
Know. It's a little big, but it feels very legit to have these fancy podcast microphones.
I know. We look like such pros now because we are. Guys, if you are just listening to this on Apple Podcast or Spotify, that's great. Remember to hit follow, but also remember that we put all of these podcasts on YouTube on IELTS Energy TV. So definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Aubrey, we have, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this week's episodes. Today we're talking about some very fun grammar mistakes, if we can say that. And tomorrow we have really awesome, fun vocabulary.
I know these are both going to be so great. This first one is really interesting because Jessica and I are on social media a lot. All Ears English is on social media. Wherever you find your social media, be sure to follow us. But because of that, we see a lot of mistakes in comments. We're not stressed about it. Don't worry if you're making a mistake in a comment on social media. Who cares?
Totally.
But here's the worry. If you guys also are reading a lot of comments on mistakes, or a lot of comments, you will also see these mistakes. And a lot of them are made by native speakers.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at like a YouTube channel or TikTok that you know is made by natives, maybe you'll assume that's proper grammar, proper spelling,
Totally.
proper punctuation, and then let that make you make that mistake on test day. That would be terrible.
I mean, I'm sad about it, but I understand that
Totally.
a lot of people these days think that their reading is accomplished through social media, clicking stuff on their Facebook feed, reading like, some link to like a blog or a forum. You guys, all of this stuff, content is produced so quickly. There is no time to edit. There's no time to proofread.
Right.
And the people producing this content often don't care about proofreading either because the point is the speed, right?
Exactly.
So there will be a lot of mistakes. And this cannot be your only reading. I'm sure you've come across this, right? Where we ask students in our one-on-one classes, like, do you read a lot in English? And they're like, oh yeah, I read all the time. What do you read? I'm on, Instagram and Twitter all the time. Like it doesn't count, you guys.
Doesn't count. I know, right? And I can imagine your goal is to like read from your novel, read the news, and then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I didn't do that, but I read for like an hour comments on social media. Check, check, check. No,
Right?
it doesn't count. It doesn't count.
No. So we are going to prove this to you today by describing some very common grammar mistakes that you might think are not mistakes because you will have seen these so often.
Yes.
As Aubrey said, like natives even make these mistakes. And so they become normalized to some extent. And it's like, okay, almost on social media to make these mistakes. But again, not on IELTS.
Exactly, right? If you make enough of these mistakes on IELTS writing, it might even pull your grammar score down to a 5 or
Definitely,
lower. And then
yeah.
it's really hard to get that overall 7 you need.
Because these are like simple mistakes too.
Right.
Right? So if you're making these easy mistakes, then it really like pops out for the examiner.
Yes,
Okay, so
good
let's
point.
get into this, Aubrey. What are the first couple mistakes here?
Okay, so the first two are very similar. It's transposing, it's mixing up it's with an apostrophe, which means it is, and then it's that indicates possession, right? So the first one, like, it's my birthday, should be with an apostrophe because it means it is my birthday. And then the other one should be like, it's her cat, because it's indicating possession. And you will see these
No,
mixed
that's
up.
still, it is
Oh, you're
her
right.
cat.
Let me think of an example. Give me an example where we're using possession, Jessica. Here you go. Natives making mistakes as we speak.
Let's see. We could say my house is so old. Its walls are from the
Perfect.
1920s.
And you have to think about, even it's tricky because it's not just possession for a person. There, it's possession for a house. The house's walls, its walls, right?
Right,
Nice.
yeah.
Very good example. And I see
Thank
this
you.
mistake all the time, all the time.
Constantly. I mean, honestly, like even I have to stop and think about it sometimes to make sure I'm getting it right. I get why it's confusing
They sound
because
the same.
well, and usually like the possessives often do have an apostrophe, right? Like
Right.
Jane's dog. It's her dog. That's the possessive. It's apostrophe S.
English. Rude. Yes.
English. So I understand why we're making these mistakes for sure, but just keep in mind, guys, it's only has an apostrophe when it's a contraction, when that apostrophe is taking the place of a letter I, right? It is, okay?
Makes sense.
Whereas the possessive, to just say like this thing,
Right.
no apostrophe. All
And the
right,
next
cool.
one is very, very similar. So it's whose with an apostrophe. Same. It means who is. It's a contraction. And then whose without a contraction, indicating possession. So I'll see the mistake like whose drink is this with apostrophe S. That doesn't work. You can't say who is drink is this, right? On that
Who
one.
is drink is this?
No, that doesn't work. And so you need just the WHOSE. Whose drink is this? Indicating possession. Someone owns that drink. That is my drink.
That is, I own that drink.
Get away from that drink.
I think a good way to check this yourselves, guys, is like when you're writing, just remember that the apostrophe takes the place of a letter. It's a contraction, right? So read the whole thing out loud in your head. If is makes sense, right? It is, who is. If that makes sense, then use the apostrophe, right? If that is doesn't sound right, then that's not an apostrophe. That's not a possessive.
Yes. And you made such a good point. I hadn't really thought about the reason this is happening is because possession is often apostrophe S, right? So it really will be,
confusing.
it is confusing. And I think will help you guys understand why you see natives making this mistake all the time, why language learners make this mistake. Definitely something to watch out for.
Totally. So yeah, like these grammar mistakes today are super interesting. And like we said, even natives make them. So guys, you definitely need to take notes today because remember, these grammar mistakes really stick out to the examiner. Okay. They are obvious. They will pull down your grammar score in IELTS writing. Okay. So this next one is also very interesting because again, like it's so understandable. All of these are so understandable. So we have seen on social media quite a lot. Choosing the wrong article, a versus an, based on the first letter of a word instead of the sound. So gosh, this doesn't seem like this should be correct, right? That
I
it
know.
seems like we should use an with an N, or a based on the letter that follows it. And that's kind of what we learn in like
I
beginning
feel like
grammar
teachers
classes.
taught me that. Yeah.
Right? But
Right.
that's not the case, guys. We choose a or an based on the first sound of a word. So, for example, an honor, okay? Honor starts with an H. H is not a vowel, right? So you would see if people are writing it and not pronouncing it out loud in their heads, they might write a honor, which is wrong. That is a grammar mistake.
Yes, and when you are writing and not thinking about the sounds of words, this is very common for both
Totally.
native speakers and language learners. Another example is an umbrella, but a unicorn, because even though it starts with a vowel, unicorn actually starts with that consonant sound. Yeah, right? So I see this mistake a lot.
I feel like we should just title this episode, Why is English So Hard?
I know, it's
English,
true.
you are frustrating. That's what the title should be.
Just so you guys know, we have solidarity with you. We agree.
know.
English is crazy. I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of English.
We stand here representing English today. Okay, guys, we have two more quick grammar mistakes for you to remember. Write these down so you don't make them in the future. Incorrect past participles. When I lived in Taiwan, I was always impressed with the memorization techniques of the past tense and past participles that I would see kids go through. Like see, saw, seen, and they would just like it's the sing-song thing they do to memorize all this stuff because it is tricky when the past participle is different than the past tense verb, right? The past simple. So. What are some examples that we see a lot?
I see native speakers say this and write this all the time. I have drank when they're talking about like water, the amount of water. And I even have had natives say to me, I know it should be, I have drunk, but I'm not going to say that because I don't want people to think I'm drunk. Like,
I know, but that's a thing.
It makes sense though.
Totally. And a couple more obvious ones, right? I have went. No. I have gone. is the correct phrase there. And we've also seen native speakers say, I have saw. Drives me crazy. These types of mistakes really drive me bonkers, guys. So the correct is I have seen. So remember, if you're using any perfect tenses, you need the past participle and not the past tense of the verb, right? Okay, and now
And
here's
quick note on that, that
Yeah.
if you guys are like, I don't understand, I need more information, a lot of this is why would you use past tense versus present perfect? And we have done episodes on that. So go to our blog and search
True.
present perfect for details about how do you know which one to choose.
Awesome. Good tip there, Aubrey. Okay, here's one more. Now, this one is funny because you can't write the same way that we talk because we do lose a lot of sounds when we talk. And this is a great example of that. So this is also having to do with perfect tenses, actually. So the correct usage would be, I should have gone sooner. I should have gone, right? But how do we say that when we're speaking quickly?
All right, we just say, I should have gone.
Shoulda. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, shoulda gone. So we see people just like write this how they have heard it, even natives again. So maybe they would write should gone or should of gone. And honestly, I think a lot of people think that last one is actually correct. Should of gone. Because like I see that all the time.
I know there have been a few times where because a native English speaker is asking me, I'll correct that and they'll push back. They're like, no, I don't think so. I think it should.
Right? Just because that's the way we say it all the time.
That's what we hear.
Woo,
Exactly.
okay, some perfect mistakes today. Okay, guys, remember to hit follow wherever you're listening to us and tune in tomorrow, guys, because we're going to have some very fun vocabulary about the elderly because you have to describe different ages a lot and social problems and such on IELTS. So remember to stay tuned tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.